All right. What is going on, everyone? My name is James Livingston, and today we're going to be talking about stock Palantir Technologies, or PLTR for ticker symbol, or name rather, in the NYSE, New York Stock Exchange. Palantir Technologies, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know a whole lot about this company per se, but from a technical standpoint, which is what I do a lot of my trading based on, I just want to kind of go over what I'm seeing here, what potential upside we could be looking at, and I wouldn't say I'm biased to the upside. I would just say that all in all, this stock is looking like it wants to continue going up. And I think there's a very real possibility that this thing could go very, very high, depending on the buying pressure. So with all that being said, again, Palantir Technologies, we're going to be looking at it here on the 1 week time frame. I like to really start out as far out as possible when I'm analyzing stocks, because I want to see general, obviously long-term trend, and then go all the way down to the shorter time frames, so I can start to see what the micro trends are going, to know exactly where my entries should be if I'm going long-term, or if I'm scalping this or day trading this. I'd be using obviously smaller time frames. But with all that being said, starting out here on the weekly, we could arguably talk about this monthly, because November was a very, very strong month for Palantir. You can see that the volume in November was substantially larger than most of the other months prior, other than in May of 2023, where it did break out of this downtrend that it was in for a long, long time, and is starting to start a new uptrend. So monthly wise, volume has definitely shifted. Momentum is starting to really shift on the MACD indicator, and we're starting to break through some key levels. Not to mention, this is a stock that does have some pretty heavy short interest. I think it's about 45 to 49%. Don't quote me on that, but I know it is under 50% right now of short interest. But it's a pretty large short interest amount, especially coming up on a level where if we do break it and the algos start to kick in, this can really start to squeeze pretty heavy. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. So going down on the weekly time frame, just kind of analyzing this from a stock perspective, you can see that we did break out of a previous high. It looks like right at about 1740 or 1730, we'll say. So we're constantly, going up on this level, broke above, followed by getting pushed down below it, came up to it, touched, wicked over it a few times. But ultimately, this spot we need to really break over and hold, and you can see so far we have done just that. We broke over a very strong weekly candle back here about 5 weeks ago, and ever since then, we've been kind of just holding this general area between, looks like about $18.40 to $20. So this past week, you can see that momentum has really started to shift to the upside. Volume, we did have a very bearish week the prior week, the last week in November. Very rejection-like candle, which was good. The stock had moved up from about $14 to $21. You're talking over a 50% move in the stock in the span of a couple weeks. So it was warranted to have a little bit of a pullback. It's healthy for pullbacks to happen, and you can see that we did just that. We pushed back, and the buyers stepped right back in this past week. And if we really dive down into the daily and just analyze how the sellers pushed them down that week, and then buyers started to push up this week with rising volume. We did have a little red day, but ultimately the last 2 days, Thursday and Friday, at the end of November and the very beginning of December, we have been pushing up. So something worth noting, especially this recovery, creating a low here on the daily and then bouncing to make a new high. This is what we call an outside candle. You can see technically we were starting to downtrend once we had this red candle. We pushed down, made a new low. We were starting to downtrend, and now we have this reversal right here, this outside candle, where we make a new low and we make a new high over the previous day. So buyers really stepped up here, and I think that this is starting to get something going. So let's just dive in here a little bit more on the 30-minute time frame. Obviously, if we want to see a move up, we want to see some levels get broke, some resistances. First resistance obviously is going to be the high of Friday. We want to continue to make new highs. That's how you keep a trend going. You should break new highs and continue on. If we can break Friday, the next level I'm looking at is $20.65. Why do I have $20.65 mapped out? Well, I'll tell you what, if I go here on the 4-hour time frame, at the 4-hour time frame, you can see this level right here is a clear level. Sorry, not the 4-hour, my apologies. I actually mapped this level on the weekly. So you can see on the weekly here, we had a couple of wicks down in the past to this exact level at about $20.65. It's hard to see on my chart here because I got a couple lines. But if you go out on the daily, this general spot right here, $20.65, and then you have $21 even. Now, $21 even is the real break spot for me. I know that we did previously go up to over that and get rejected, so arguably you would say $21.85 is the resistance, but I really do feel like once we break $21, I think in the past, $21 again has been a bottom on a lot of these previous trends, that if we break above it, I think we got some leg room to get really moving towards $23. $22.88 to be exact, but I would say $23 relatively. And then from 23, we have levels going all the way up to this one right here, about 24, and then 25, 26, basically $1 per each time. But again, with this one having such high short interest, I do think that there is a possibility that we could really start ripping. If the volume continues, this shift in volume right here at about the middle of May, it looks like, really is something interesting. I mean, we had a relatively low volume until then, just getting pummeled, and now we're starting to get volume like we had when it IPO'd way back in 2020. So that tells me there's something brewing. Something big is brewing right here, and I really think that Palantir has a chance to go and make some big highs, including possibly even going up to these highs of $28 to $30, if not going for those previous highs when it IPO'd at about $40 to $45, this general range up within here. So far, this is looking really strong. I think there's, again, definitely some nice headroom for this stock. I think it's worth watching. So with that being said, guys, that's all for Palantir here. I just wanted to really quickly go over this stock, let you guys know my opinions on it, so that way you guys can be educated. And obviously, before you do go ahead and purchase the stock, just know I'm not a financial advisor, never claimed to be, never will be, but just simply based on my analysis, using my EMAs, using my indicators, using my knowledge on price action and volume analysis. I think that Palantir is a good buy, as long as, of course, if you have the 20 EMA on your chart, as long as we can respect that on the larger time frames, preferably the weekly. I think this is on a crash course to make new all-time highs. With that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a good rest of your day.